Go Church, and welcome to this edition of Kingdom Conversation. This morning, I believe the conversation is going to be very consequential because we're going to hear our young people address the new season in their lives. And therefore, I want to just encourage all of us, the older generation, if you will, to lay back, sit back, and listen. The platform today is for the youth and the young adults. We want to clearly hear how they articulate the unique challenges and the opportunities that are with them in their new season. So we are going to lay back and listen and reflect and give them the platform to speak to us. Translation. When it's time for Q&A, we are going to sit back. Let the young people ask the questions, let them answer the questions, and let's just reflect on what we hear from them. This is their day, this is their time, this is their platform. Amen? Amen. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado,
Good morning, Go Church. Good. You guys can do better than that. Good morning, Go Church.
Good morning.
I welcome you to Kingdom Conversation. As Pastor Bank has covered a little bit, today's going to be different. We've never had a Kingdom Conversation like this before. We're going to be talking to the future of global outreach. And for a young adult myself, as a young adult myself, we think a lot differently than I would say our parents and people that have gone through the season of life. So to just add on to what Pastor Bank has said, I just want to encourage our parents and anybody that's gone through the season to just have a heart of listening. Just have a heart to understand where this group is coming from, because we go out to the real world, we have so much being thrown at us, trying to keep up with your identity, your morals, your values, what you hear in church. It's a big struggle sometimes. It's almost like a tug of war. So please just have a heart to understand. My parents, I know sometimes you probably are like, oh my God, this is a different generation. So I believe something that's going to be said today, you will be a changing point to your life, how you look at your kids, even when you get home. So just to highlight a couple of things before we get started, we do have 60 minutes. And it sounds like a lot of time, and I almost wish we had an hour 30 for a conversation like this. But we're going to work with what we have. We're going to try to incorporate as many people as possible into the discussion. And before I keep going, a big shout out to our online audience right now watching. Yes, we do not take them for granted. We do not take you for granted for continuing to tune in. You all are also a part of this discussion. So if I pose a question and something resonates with you, please tune in. Please send your comments, send your thoughts. We want to hear them, and as time permits, I'll take as many as possible. Now, before I get out your way, I want to put a huge spotlight right now to the floor panels. These are people in high school, college, going up to college. Can we just give them a round of applause, please? Yeah, so of course, showcase yourself. So, you all are active participants of this discussion. So when I do pose a question, please come up to the mic as time permits when I open up the floor to one or two people. Well, I welcome you to the mic because don't be shy. I have talked to a few of you and I can see a little, anxiousness. But whatever you say today could honestly be a changing point in somebody's life, because a lot of people have silent questions and you might think high school is not that deep and it's not that serious, but somebody else is going into high school and currently nervous. So your words are valuable. Come up to the mic, share your thoughts, share your comments on my questions, and yeah, we'll go from there. And of course, big spotlight to two young men up here, Kunle Akimola and Toby Shoyebo. Thank you so much, honestly, because I know it's not easy to just agree to be up here, and I know it takes a different level of grace to sit up here and represent this group, the young adults, so thank you so much for that. And without further ado, let's jump into the discussion. Who's ready? All right, so I just want to start off with just Kunle and Toby just introducing themselves for people maybe online watching who don't know who you are. So.
Yeah, I'll go. So my name is Kunle Akimola. Toby and I, we both went to Georgia State University. Currently in my career, I'm a tech strategy consultant for BCG, Boston Consulting Group. That's just a little bit about myself.
Good morning, Go Church. My name is Toby Shoyebo. As Kunle said, I went to Georgia State University, then I went to University of South Carolina School of Law, and currently I'm working as a lawyer in creditors' rights.
Big shout out to them. They're very humble, y'all, and they're doing a lot, so thank you. Go ahead.
One thing. So just to frame the conversation, and this is just how I think, and kind of part of the career that I'm in, kind of try to guide the conversation and put it in a framework, right? So just want to set the expectations that the way I think about these things is, what is the so what of what we're doing today? So what is the second and third order implications, right? We're not here to just have this conversation and leave and everything went in 1 year and out the other. We really want to be able to talk about some topics and things that we can really take on and incorporate not only in this body, but in the lives of like our young people and even the adults, and how to relate with young people. So really just keep that frame in mind of this, not critiques, not criticisms, but how can we do better, right? How can we as a body do better? How can we as people do better, and as a community? So as long as we keep that frame of the conversation, I think we'll have a good time today.
So I think Kunle just opened us up perfectly to set the tone for today's discussion. So today our conversation will be broken up into two different buckets. We're going to be talking career-related questions. So school to my youth on the floor, and then also faith-based questions. We're going to talk about our walk in Christ. But I want to start off light, just icebreaker, so we don't just jump into the tough questions. Let's start off with this question: tithes, grace giving. We're a church that stands very, very, very big on that. And we get graduation gifts, we have birthday gifts. For you two, I just want to start off with the two of you right now. Should you pay those tithes with those gifts we get and graduation and birthday gifts?
I guess I'll start off with this one. I think I was actually having a conversation with my mom about this recently. As some of you may know, my mom's in tax, and I was just talking about like the definitions of income. I'm not going to go into all of that because I'm not a tax professional, but when you think about birthday money, it's usually something that's already given to you, so I don't really look at it as income. So when I do it, it's more about what do I feel, how is God leading me in the moment, not necessarily like how I deal with my income when it comes to my salary. It's just like, before I deal with anything, I take that first fruit and put it aside for my tithes. That's different. But I feel like when it's birthday money, it's just like, how's the Spirit leading you? And I just take it from there. And it just depends on what happens.
So I think I have kind of two comments to this topic. I would say, and a lot of it is also maybe how I was raised, right? So the way that I see it is birthday money, somebody just gives you something just because. I consider that increase, right? And to me, anything that's God has increased in your life, right? It's not an obligation. We're not under the law where we need to give a certain amount. But I do believe that if you've been blessed, whether somebody blessed you for your birthday, they blessed you because you did something for them, anything that you've been blessed, you have an opportunity to be a blessing with. So just in general, I know we have all these stipulations on this situation or that situation. I don't believe that we need to look at it as from like a law perspective, right? It's about giving to God shouldn't be about the obligation. It's about, do I think it's the right thing to do, right? So I think that can kind of answer a lot of the different variations of this question that come up a lot of times, right? How much, what the frequency, what it is. You've been blessed by God, give back and be a blessing, right? And that way we can kind of get out of kind of the nuts and bolts of the, I gave this much, I didn't give this much, should I give out of this, this and that, but that's just my opinion on the topic.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. So let's go into, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on career and faith. Let's start off with new seasons. We talked about entering new seasons, and for the youth and young adults, whatever that season looks like, whether it's starting a new job, starting college, high school, how do you enter that? How do you prepare for those things? And I will take one or two people to the mic even as they start to answer the question.
I guess I'll take that first. I think for me, as many of us that are young, we see it scrolling on Instagram, and I kind of think about that post when when you get the things that you pray for, you want to be prepared for it. So really, I just try to ask God, prepare for me for what I'm about to go into, prepare me for everything I know I've already prayed for. I want to be able to handle it so I don't lose it or misuse the blessing that God is pouring into my life or the new space that I'm entering. I just want to be ready to keep running forward as God leads me.
Yeah, no, I would agree a lot with what Toby just said. I think that as you go into, especially the transition from high school to college, right? That's really the first time that as an individual, you're standing by yourself and you have to kind of stand on the foundation that has been built or that you've been building for yourself, right? And even going from college where you may have your small community of people that you kept close to, and you go to college to the real world where maybe all of your friends have moved away, right? So I think the best way to prepare is really to kind of ground yourself in your identity. Who do you know that you are, and what do you know that you believe, right? Once you have that foundation, I think it makes it a lot easier to make these transition points, because no matter where you're transitioning to in life, that foundation is always going to remain the same. If you have that sense of identity and who you are and what your foundation is and who you believe in, I think that it's really easy to not be swayed by the different kind of situations that you can get in as you transition into different parts of your life.
Thank you for that, Kone. So I will take one person that can just speak to this question. How do you enter a new season? I know some of you on the floor, before I call names. I started college, started high school. So how do you prepare for that? Don't be shy.
Personally, I think just surrounding yourself with people who have been through what you're about to go through, who've experienced it, who could advise you on stuff to do, things you have to know. I think that's how I would use that situation.
Okay. Abigail, did you have something to add? No, you're good. Okay. So let's go a little bit into a fake. Go ahead.
Can church hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'll speak specifically to the people who are going into college. I think one time Pastor Bank touched on this, how the transition from high school to college, a lot of people stop going to church. A lot of people stop putting God into their lives. And I think I personally fell victim to that, going from high school to college, because I was always a firm believer in, I'm going to go to church every Sunday. I packed my church clothes to go to college and find a church there. But as I got there, I realized there is so much going on in my week that I didn't even research what churches to go to. I like to know exactly what this church is going to provide for me, what this church is going to do for me. I don't want to just step into a random church and they're not blessing me as far as how I want to go about my faith. So I think it's really important when you go from high school to college that you know exactly what church you want to go to. If you really believe in keeping your faith strong and keeping your journey going strong, I think it's very, very, very important that you research exactly what church you want to go to, research exactly how you want to conduct your faith, and I think somebody touched on it, keeping like-minded people around you that also want to explore their faith. It's a serious thing. A lot of people go from high school to college. Like going into high school, your parents will force you to go to church every Sunday. We know this, you know. But going from high school to college, like Quinn said, you're your own person, you're your own individual. So you have your own choices. My mom told me like, you're 18 now, you can make your own decisions whether you want to go to church or not. And like being an athlete myself, like Sundays, that's the only day we get to go to treatment if we have injuries and stuff. It's in the morning. So, okay, if I have this in the morning, do I plan to do worship later? Do I plan to, but then I have homework, but then I have this studying to do for this test that I have Monday. So, really, if you really are serious about your faith journey, please manage your time well. Make sure that even Jesus said that church is conducted with 3 people or more. So it doesn't have to be in a traditional church building. It can be with your friends. It can be with people on campus. There are groups for this kind of thing. So please, don't make the same mistake that I did and not manage your time and get so caught up in the, what's the word I'm looking for? What looks good in college, like all the whatever is looking good in college, you know. Make sure that you go back to that foundation that you've set up. So,
Thank you for that.
I just figured I'd come up here before gift calls on me. So I want to agree with Subi on that one. Like my first semester of college, I think I went to church physically once, and I didn't completely abandon it. Like I was watching Walk Fan or Go every single Sunday, but I definitely did like lose. Like I was just like, I'm already doing it online. There's no point in finding it. But I want to emphasize like finding friends that who like share faith with you. It makes going to church like 10 times more fun, I guess. So I just really enjoyed going to church when like I figured out that like all my friends, you know, wanted to go to church with me too, and I was fortunate to find a church that like, you know, was a 10-minute walk. It was like under my nose for like almost 8 months, and I didn't even know about it. So I just want you guys to like know that like when I heard people like in college were like not going to church, I was just like, that can never be me. But it's very easy to let that happen. So I would just make an effort to find people who, like Subi said, are like-minded and you know, are looking to progress in their faith the same way you are. And yeah.
So, and even as I pose a question, if something resonates with you, please just step up to the mic as we move along. So, for Connie and Toby, let's start off with you both. How does one maintain a heart of gratitude during times of struggles? Even as a young adult, there's just so much that you're trying to do, and you know, we all encounter struggles. How do you maintain a heart of gratitude?
So for me, especially myself these days, I work a lot. And you know, there are some days where you're frustrated and you're really thinking like, what is this all for? What is it worth it? And like, what is the point of all this? Why am I working so hard? And one of the things that I always have to kind of remind myself is, I'm just so blessed to be in the position that I've been in, that I've gotten to. And I'm in a position where like I only dream to be where I am now, right? And I think sometimes you have to always kind of remind yourself that sometimes you're in a position that 3 years ago you never could have imagined that you could have been in. So that day to day might be a little bit of a grind, and it might not be fun, and might not be what you really, you know, are waking up and super excited for. But you also have to realize sometimes you're in a position that you prayed for, that you know that is a means to an end as well. And so when I always kind of reorient myself that way, I'm always just appreciative and thankful that I'm here, I'm in good health, my family's in good health. Like the things that really matter in life are good. As long as those things are good, I'm good, if that makes sense. So that's just the way that I think about things.
Toby, do you have anything to add?
Oh yeah, I do. I think for me personally, I went through a little bit of a struggle season or whatever you want to call it, with me with law school and going towards passing the bar. And I think what kept me grateful and everything is just, I think about the little songs that we learned in Sunday school. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your... So I would do that, and I would literally have to make a list some days, just writing down everything that I was blessed about, and I'd always be able to start at 206 because every single one of my bones work. So yeah, that's just how I try to remain grateful, and I think just really counting your blessings and just, like Kunle said, realizing that you're where sometimes where I am right now is where I was praying to be maybe a year or 2 years ago, and that just really makes it all worth it when you go about it. And before you even get to that point, you have to realize one day I'm going to be thankful that I'm there. Tomorrow's me is going to be thankful for what I'm doing today, and that helps you keep going.
That, Abigail, I think you have something to share.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. So that question really resonated with me because junior year is probably one of the hardest years in high school that I had, and going through it, taking the hardest classes that I've ever taken. One thing that God always reminded me is that focus on what I'm doing to you in this trial. Not just how hard this is. I can't understand this, but instead that God is teaching me patience, He's teaching me endurance, He's teaching me that, hey, you will be able to do this, and productive struggle, that a coal has to be pressed to turn into a diamond. So I have to be pressed to turn all God has called me to be. And so focusing on the fruits of what He's doing in me in that trial really made me grateful and say, thank you, God, for this, because you know what? You cause all things to work together for my good. And even though I can't see it, I know you are changing me into all you've called me to be.
Go ahead.
Hello, church. How's everyone? Doing all right? All right, so I really love what you said. I resonate with what Toby and Kunle said. One thing that keeps me so grateful is when I look back on my life, right? And I see all the times I could have died. I went down and I literally cried. Sometimes, sometimes when I pray, I'm like, God, why do you love me so much? Why? Honestly, I'm not even supposed to be standing here today. But when I look back and see all the stuff that God delivered me from, y'all, I'm eternally grateful. Forever grateful. That's what keeps me pushing. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, sir. Wow. Thank you for sharing. I am learning, even myself sitting here, I got a little emotional because I'm learning a lot from you guys, and it's very interesting to see your perspective on things. So thank you for sharing. I encourage you to keep sharing as we go on. Let's jump to career real quick. How does one find a good mentor? Maybe this is a question for Kunle and Toby. I know you've gone through your life. Mentorship could be, it doesn't have to be even career, it could be anything. Just having that person. How do you find that?
Yeah, let me, if you don't mind, let me take this one first. So for me, and this is something that I'm actually super passionate about, finding a mentor I think can be really important. Finding somebody who's been in the shoes, in the career that you want to go to or that you think you want to go to. It's always better to learn from somebody else's mistakes or the advice that somebody who's gone before you already has. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate it, right? You want to be a doctor. You think you need to find some random doctor from somewhere that you never have access to. So if you can't talk to them, you can't have a mentor. I just want to encourage every single person that we have such a diverse amount of careers and accomplished people within this house right here that I don't think that we leverage nearly enough. I remember growing up, maybe by the time I was in high school, I just randomly, my dad would say, oh, did you know Uncle does this? I had no idea, right? There are people with faces that you see on a week-to-week basis, but we don't really know what they have in their lives. Even in college for me, I changed my major my junior year. So I know a lot of parents are like, oh, wow. I changed my major my junior year, but I talked to people specifically with Uncle Pierre. I called him. I called Bank. I called so many people within the house who let me know what it was, what it would be like in a day-to-day in the career that I was looking to switch to. Also, what strengths and weaknesses that would you need in order to be successful in this thing, right? We have a vast amount of resources literally right here with people who love and care about you, and I've known about you guys for such a long time. Like, I would really encourage, actually just get out and have conversations with people. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have project managers, we have so many different people within this house. Like, please leverage them. And as well, to the adults, don't wait until somebody comes up to you to have a conversation with them, right? There's so many people that you see on a week-to-week basis. Take an interest in somebody. Ask them, what do you do? What is your major? What do you want to do with that? Encourage the conversation, foster that relationship, and we'll see a lot of natural pairings happening within the house without it having to be some formal thing, right? I think life is relationship-based, so let's relate with each other within this house.
Kunle really said it. I think I probably have a similar experience for the same thing as far as me going to law. I talked to Annette, I talked to David, Harriet, and I think the easiest thing to do is just kind of, when you look around, you should be seeing, what did this person do, like Kunle says, and like, you have to know, how did this person get here? Sometimes you may have to look at their resume, talk to them, and talk about their experience, and does this person have a similar style to what will help me actually receive what the advice that they're trying to give me and how to go. I think the easiest way to find someone is just first find, where do I want to go? I know at this stage in your career, you might not know when you're going into college or still finishing off high school. Some of you may know that you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer. Some of you still may be trying to find out the other careers that may be present. But I feel like once you find that career or that passion, find other people that have that like-minded passion. And sometimes mentorship doesn't have to be someone that's older you. Sometimes it's your peers. Sometimes it's just somebody that you study within the area of the field that you want to be like. And once you find that, you just follow it and just pray that God blesses them and all the advice they give you. And as long as they're pouring from a cup that you want to actually drink, I feel like that'll actually be something that'll be beneficial for you.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you for that. At this time, I'll check to see if we have any online comments or thoughts. Okay, we'll move on. So I want to read a verse real quick, and I'll start with the youth on the floor. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the beliefs in word, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and in purity." What does despising one's youth mean? What could that mean to you?
What I think it means is that don't let someone who's older criticize you or belittle you just because you're younger. That's what I think it means. So.
Okay. Does anybody else have thoughts? Okay. Move on to Kunle and Toby.
When I read that verse, it makes me think of, don't let anybody take away your lack of experience. Don't let that hold you back. Because even when we think about the stories of the Bible, when Jesus was teaching at 12 years old, when we think about Samuel when he was getting started at this young age, I think you shouldn't let your youth keep you from having a voice, because each and every one of you have a mouth, and you should be able to speak power to truth in everything that you're doing, and don't let that stop you from everything you need to say, because you all have a unique experience, and no matter what season or phase of life that you're in, you need to be able to speak up and speak out on what you really feel and what you have.
Kunle, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree with Toby on that topic.
Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So something that Anti-Revelation always tells Kabod is that the same Holy Spirit that is in Pastor Bank is the same Holy Spirit that is in us. So what I think about this verse, and when I look at this verse, it really means to me is like, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young. You can do anything that you, when you put your mind to it, and anything that God leads you to do, and that's something that I've been working on, is to be more assertive and just work on my approach, because when you appear meekish to people, they take advantage of that, and being young on top of it, it's not easy. So it's like you have to be assertive so they know that you're serious. So.
Thank you for that. Sonny, go ahead.
Like, I agree with what she says, but like, it doesn't have to be like someone who's like older. Like, just don't believe like anybody says about you. Just like, if you know you can do it, just do it. And like, just keep on going. Just pray to God and just like, you know, just keep on going until you make it and stuff.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, John.
Good morning, church. Good morning, everybody. So for me, this verse, like when I read, I don't know, that verse, the first like couple lines is really what's resonating with me. Like it's almost like I see, imagine it like because of your youth there. Because the other day I was on Instagram, I seen this 13-year-old girl. Somehow she accumulated 2 undergraduate degrees. She's already been accepted into med school at 13 years old, you know? So it's just like, you can, like Sarah was saying, you can do anything that you put your mind to, but like at the same time, a 13-year-old should not have to like do that to be taken seriously, but it's like, like it just shows that like what you can accomplish, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I was just thinking about like, I'm pretty sure when in the Bible, when Samuel was like young, you know, God was calling out his name. He didn't wait until he was an adult. He was like younger than us. So when he was reaching out, called his name 3 times, you know? So it really shows that God can use you at any point or any stage in your life to be a blessing, you know, so yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, we'll round up with Abigail.
When I see that verse, it reminds me, don't allow,
Abigail, stand up.
so it just makes me think, don't let anyone else, your youth does not invalidate your experiences. And just because I'm not older or 20, doesn't mean that I don't have anxiety or stress or things that I'm not worrying about, you know? Our worlds are important to us because they're our worlds. And so I just want to encourage everyone, if you're going through something, whether it's little, it's big, tell somebody about it. Because just because you're young, it doesn't invalidate your feelings, it doesn't invalidate what you're going through, and you are just as important as anybody else.
Amen.
Thank you for that. Thank you. If we don't have any online comments, we'll keep going. Conley and Toby, I'll start with Conley. What has worked well with like making important decisions in your life, like choosing a career path? For people on the floor, once they're done, just choosing a major. What has worked well to make those decisions? Or even choosing a wife. I mean, I know you're not married yet, but things like that, what has worked well?
Yeah, so I think I'm a strong proponent of, I don't believe anybody should be a Lone Ranger. I don't think anybody should really be making these big life decisions truly, specifically, only by yourself. I think it's really important to have good counsel around you, have people that you know have the same similar values, morals, and stand on the same things that you believe. Because when you're discussing it with these people, good counsel, whether it's your family, your friends, people that you really respect their opinion and what they have to say, you know that you're coming from the same place and the same basis. The criteria for making your decision is going to be in line with each other. You may now come to different conclusions, but you understand that they gave you good counsel based off of you believe in the same thing that they believe, right? So for me, I believe it's super important to get counsel. I can, like, specifically for myself, I was a biology student for 3 years, so 3 full years, right? So after my junior year, I was going into my last year of university. And I actually knew that this major, I was good at it. My grades were good. It wasn't an issue of I wasn't doing well in my classes, and I was on track to graduate on time. But I really was sitting down and thinking, this is not really what I want to do, right? I could finish this degree for my parents, and they would be happy. After 3 years, nobody wants to say, oh, Dad, I want to change my major, right? However, what I did is, once I knew I had that feeling, the next thing was to now start talking to the people that I trusted in my circle, who I knew that they would have specific insights into what they've seen in me, their experience with me, and if what I'm thinking matches up with what they believe that they've seen in me, also with what they know about their career. So I talked to Uncle Pierre, I talked to Bank, I talked to Uncle Sammy, so many different people, right? To finally come to the realization that, yeah, I did need to make a change. Now, a lot of people make a change and they just make that change and they're still kind of flippant, or they make multiple changes. And also, I had to be able to have a plan when I came to talk to my parents, right? So it's not just 3 years of tuition in one major and then I just wanted to try out something new, right? So once I got that information, I did the market research, right? And I got those insights. I then now created a roadmap and a plan to how I was going to get to where I wanted to go, right? So it took me I was 3 years a biology student. I finished my whole computer information systems degree in a year and a half. Right? So I finished after 3 years, I changed my major and I only graduated 1 semester late. But it's because I did the market research, I got the information that I needed in order to make the best decision for myself, and then I created an actionable plan to then do it. A lot of people talk about they don't want to ever change their major because they're afraid of what their parents are going to say or how they're going to react. But I think if you come with a plan, right, you say that these are the classes that I know I need to take. I know I need to get an internship at this point in time. So I know I need to network and talk to people to get that. But these are my goals and this is the way I need to do it. They're gonna be much more open to what you have to say. If it's, I just don't like that and I wanna do this, right? I mean, they're concerned and care about you and your future, right? So they wanna know that you're thinking about your future as much as they are. So I think as long as you're able to kind of, like I said, to make a big decision, you take the market research of the trusted sources of the people that you know in your sphere, and then you now use that information to create a plan, an actionable plan. I think your decisions generally, or to me, that's the formula that I use to make big decisions in my life.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that. Toby, should we can go to Hammy. Do you want to jump in?
I can jump in if you like. I think for me, I remember I think I was in college and I was listening to, at a program, and they were talking about everyone should have their own board of directors. And what I mean by that is that you have these people in your life, they are very close to you, kind of like when Kunle was talking about his circle that he uses. And this board of directors is there to, when you have major life changes or things that you need to think about, these are the people you talk to. They will give you good advice. They love you, and even if whether you follow their advice or don't follow their advice, they're there to support you and guide you to where they need to because they want the best for you. Whether that board of director just looks like you, God, and your mom, or you, God, your mom, your girlfriend, or whatever that may be, it's up to you to decide what your board of directors look like. Because at the end of the day, you're a business and you need to be successful. So if you treat yourself like that and you get all this good advice from these people that you actually trust. There are many people in this house that could be on your board of directors if you like. There are many people sitting next to you that could be on your board of directors that probably should be on your board of directors. Something to think about. But when you get that board together, you make all the decisions and you pray on it, I feel like that's the best way to make decisions that when you're entering a new phase or a new dimension or want to change your major or anything of the sort like that.
Thank you.
Good morning, church. My name is Bemi Sherbo, so I'm a sibling of...
Oh, hi, Bemi.
Hey. One thing I just want to emphasize to mostly those getting to college, don't box yourself in. I know that a lot of you might think I wanted to be a doctor since I was 2 years old. I picked up a stethoscope and I was like, this is it.
I too was that person, but upon taking a class about medicine and law together, I was like, oh, there are intersections that you don't even think really exist that really need you, but you'll find that passion from trying new things. Even though if you're a biology major, try out intro tech classes, things like that. You'll find passions that you don't really know exist. And on top of that, like when you're getting ready to, if there's a switch and you find that new passion, like those people that are really close to you. I know for me, it was talking to my older brother when I told him that, hey, I don't know about this medicine thing, I'm kind of considering law, but in like a health aspect, he was like, finally, this is it, this is you. And that thing that I didn't want to see in myself, my brother saw, he didn't push, he let me decide this is what I wanted to do. And so you really need to, yes, focus on what you want to do, but be open to what comes to you, because life has so many lessons that you don't know that they're coming. And the people around you might see, oh, this is good. So you need to make sure that you're listening to those around you, your older siblings, your cousins, people like that, but also know what you want in yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So we're, to be time cautious, we're just going to take a few more questions. And I just want to start off with this. What can you do for Go Church? And what are your expectations that Go Church can do for you right now, where you are? Can start off with, go ahead, Toby.
I think for me, Go Church is home. Even when I was in school, some of you may know that I would come back as often as I could just to get that refuel, that love, just like we have our midweek refuels. I feel like when you're at school, you might need to come back or watch and get that refuel just so you can go back and face the world. I think as far as what I can do for Go Church is I can sacrifice and give as much as I can and try to find ways to serve where I feel comfortable and where God leads me. I feel like I've spent in my time growing up in this church, I've served in various different places trying to figure out what exactly works for me. I'm still trying to find out what exactly that means and what God has for me with Go Church, but I feel like as long as I have that eagerness to find that and God leading me and a lot of mentors that in this house that can train me in different ways that can help me, I feel like I'll be on the right track and that I'll be able to give back as much as I can so that the next generation can have the great things that inspired me.
So for me, in terms of what I can give back and what Go Church has given me, I think that this church, this community has given me so much. To name every name of somebody who's really like spoken life and really spoken so many insights and just blessed me with so many different things, it's just too many to name. I think honestly, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, sitting here right now, if I did not grow up in this church, in this community. I think, and something I say all the time, I'm Uncle Sam, super close to Uncle Sam, but I tell him almost every Sunday that without some of the things that you say or so many different people say, the reinforcements, if I've missed 2 Sundays in a row because I've actually been traveling, the fact that I know that somebody's gonna give me a call to make sure that everything's going well, just those things, that sense of community, it's done so much for me, right? And honestly, helping me to know who I am. And I think going forward, for me, how can I give back to Go Church? I just want to be able to give everything that was given to me. That's why when I say things like, adults, be open to getting to know people and having conversations and mentoring and breathing into, speaking into the lives of the younger people, I'm talking to myself as well. So for me, anyone that I talk to, I want to engage and talk with and help out anywhere that I can. If there's any advice, any career stuff, personal stuff, school stuff, things like that, anywhere that I can help, I want to be able to give back and slide in as much as possible. So really just kind of alluding to what Toby said, give back everything that was given to me.
Thank you, thank you. Does anyone on the floor have anything to add? What are you expecting from Go Church and what can you give back? If we don't, all right, Go ahead, Abigail.
I would just say, especially in the aspect of serving, I would say be open to trying new things. I remember the first time I saw Kabod ministering, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And that's just what inspired me, just seeing somebody else do it. And it was new, it's something I never knew about, but I thank God that I joined when I did because I love Kabod now. So I just really would encourage everyone to be open to trying new things. You may not necessarily picture yourself greeting people, ushering people, but if you just go out and try, you may never know that maybe you're passionate.
Amen. Amen. So go ahead. If we can take one more quickly.
I'll say the position that I'm in right now, as far as like how I can give back to Go Church, I feel like I've always been like learning from my uncles around me, and just learning from, especially the men's ministry, like they've helped me so much personally. Whether it's with football, whether it's just learning different things about life. But I feel like where I'm at now, I have to be more than just a big brother to my two little brothers. Like I feel like I have to be a big brother to a lot of other people in church. Whether it's whether it's people asking about, oh, what do I do when I get in high school? What do I do when I first step into college? What do I do in this situation when this person is treating me like this? What do I do as far as this sport? Like, how do I train this way? How do I go about talking to my coaches? So I feel like as far as how I can give back to Go Church, it's kind of like Kumle said, giving back everything that was given to me and being a big brother to those around me. I feel like that's the best way I can give back.
Thank you. So I have one more question, and we're going to do that quickly. But then I want to open up the floor to the parents and people that have gone through this season. Just thoughts, comments, anything you've heard today, maybe advice. If you have that, one or two people, we'll take that in the last 5 minutes. So my last question is, what are you expecting from your parents during this time, even as you go through this season? Are there any things you think your parents should be doing for you right now? And I can start with the people on the floor. If not, I will move on to. Go ahead, Victor.
I think parents should just continue to encourage their kids, pray for them too, and just continue to love on your kids as well. Some of us are struggling internally with stuff that we may not even want to speak to parents about. I think that's good.
Thank you. Go ahead, Comfort.
Good morning, church. What I have to say is that I believe that our parents should continue to be very supportive. One thing that has helped me through my years of college is my parents are very supportive of me. No matter what, no matter if I decide to change my mind about something or if I want to try out new things, my parents are always there to help me. And I feel like that has definitely encouraged me to build my characteristic, build myself, figure out new things about myself that maybe I didn't even know and that my parents have been seeing. Or it doesn't even have to be just your parents. I think this all ties into mentors and stuff. I have people around me like Auntie Linda, Uncle Pierre that I'm very thankful for that help me see things a little differently that I feel like without them it would be a struggle to get to that point, So yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to say that there should be more understanding because sometimes when you're a youth or a teenager, it's so hard, but they're not so understanding because of where they're coming from. And I just want to say it's Africans here, but sometimes African parents are supposed to be very understanding because we're not in Africa anymore. Our culture is good. You're supposed to teach them the culture, but you're supposed to understand that this is like a different time. So like,
Okay, one thing I have to add for parents, one thing my parents do, like in any situation or anything I struggle with, they always point me back to God. And everything, you know, they'll point me to a scripture or they'll point me to a word, you know, just remind me that the only person that has my future in his hands is God. The only person that has my best interest at heart and wants me to succeed according to his will is God. So in everything, go to God, trust God through the most difficult things. I know my parents are always here to support me, and I know they love me, so yeah, just keep reminding us that, you know, God is good through every circumstance, and just keep directing us towards his path.
Amen. I know we have one of our people that have passed this season, but Joshua will take you real quick, and then we'll open up the floor to one or two people.
Hey, I just wanted to like kind of piggyback on the understanding thing, because like my parents are, like, they do a great job. They break their back to provide for me and my sister, and I'm forever grateful to God that they're my parents. So I just like to say that first and foremost. But it's like, one thing that I've noticed is like, I'm young, I understand, but at the same time, I'm not, getting any younger. Like, I'm 18, I've reached legal. Yeah, I know. But I've reached legal adulthood soon enough. Like, before I know, I'll be 21. I'm like slowly maturing and becoming like a man and becoming an adult. But I know that like a lot of the time, like, you're your parents' kid. You're always going to be your parents' child, even when you're like 40, 50. You're always their kid. You're always going to be their baby. But a lot of the times there's like a conflict because you feel like you're a man. You're not a baby. You're not a kid anymore. But your parents are always going to. It doesn't matter. Your parents are always so like trying to like, I guess, make compromise or I guess the dynamics in your relationship, they're gonna evolve the older you get and everything like that. So it's like your parents trying to work with you, like as you're becoming a man or a woman, of God and everything like that. So as you get older, like understanding that like you're becoming older and you're not just like a little kid anymore. I think that'd be beneficial to your relationship with your parents.
Amen. Wow, that was good. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll open up the floor to one or two people. Yeah, and then we'll close it out.
Good day, church. I know you guys usually don't hear me talking, only on the drums. But I just wanted to give you a little advice. Being a young adult to becoming an adult, act salvation. I was like, can I say something? I know I'm not an adult, but I'm a dad now, right? So I guess I'm considered an adult. But I'm still in my 20s, I'm not 30 yet, so yeah. Anyways, but 1, trust in God. 2, believe in yourself. Be yourself. When you go to college, you're gonna see all kind of different things, right? But trust, just have faith in God. Be yourself, don't be discouraged, don't be shy, just be yourself. You will find somebody that has a similar things as you. Trust in God as much as you can. It was hard for me coming from the islands, right? And coming to America. Like, it's kind of like Africa to America, in a sense. Different culture, different vibes. But I use my talents. You may have so many different talents, but my talent, of course, is drums. And every Sunday, I found a church. It took about 4 different churches. I found a church, and I promise you, like, every single church that I went to taught me something. Taught me to be a better man, taught me to be stronger, taught me to have more confidence in myself, and just, yeah. So I just wanted to say those 3 things. Be yourself, trust God. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll take one more really quick. If not, I just want to close out with a script. Okay, we'll take one more.
If you allow me, the parents can talk. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. What happened this morning just bring back to me euphoria that I felt one time before. I've been in a forum where there were fathers, mothers, and their children. And this kind of dialogue come out where the parents want to know what is it that they're doing wrong and what are the impression the children are having. it was quite a big revelation, both to the children and to the parents, the mothers and the fathers. And I think what is happening today opens our eyes in the Go Church to what we need to be doing even more and more. And I will pray that we will have a repeat of this in the years ahead. But one thing I want to tell the children, from that passage that says, don't let anyone devise despite your youth. I remember some 20, maybe 30 years ago, I was talking with one of my professors back then. I was a professor too at that time. And he was telling me, because I was young, he said, Larry, you don't know much. What took us 20 years is what you are struggling today. And I don't know where that came from. And I told the professor, I said, sir, what took you 20 years? I can teach it in a 2-hour class. And that tells you something about generations after generations. Generations after generations get better and better and better. So do not let anyone despise your youth. And that's for you kids. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we'll take it, Pastor.
Amen. I first of all want to start off by commending you guys very highly from the standpoint of the parents and as a pastor. I am deeply humbled just watching all of you and your contributions, because my mind is cast way back when I was teaching the two of you in Sunday school. and to hear the maturity and the poise and the wisdom. There is something about God that cannot be taken away. And you have given us the respite and assurance that the God that we put in you is the one you are taking to the marketplace. And so from us as parents, we want to thank you for listening and allowing the Spirit of the Lord to work on you, so that when we listen to you, we can see the God we put in you speaking back to us. And so I want to thank you, and to all of you as well, and for paying attention. Two things, and then I'll take my seat. To the young lady who said, you know, African parents, times have changed. It is true. And my daughters remind me all the time, this is not Africa, and it's fine. We'll do well to make sure that we roll with the times. Having said that, though, we're still in the admonishing and teaching mode. There are certain things in God that does not change. There's culture, but then there are also principles. Principles remain the same for all people, in all places, at all times. So you just cannot say, because this is not Africa, but this is America, we're going to jettison the principle of being respect, submission, and honor to parents, honor your parents and things like that, because that is a commandment that carries a blessing along with it. So whenever your parents are trying to mold you in the right direction, it's not always fun. There are times when it may irk you a little bit, but know that if it borders on principles, God is inflexible with principles, because that is what will take you to where you need to go. I leave that as such. And then my last point, I'll also piggyback on 1 Timothy 4:12. Everybody, what they have said is right. But from the scriptural standpoint, the reason why the Apostle Paul made that suggestion to Timothy was because in the Greek culture where he was at the time as a young pastor in Ephesus, Greek culture gave very little respect to young people because they highly thought about experience and maturity. So what Paul is telling Timothy, who at this time was in his 30s, Paul met Timothy when he was a young man. Now he was in his 30s, is that, look, the culture in which you are makes very little room to respect the age bracket that you are in. But I want you to so distinguish yourself in a godly way so that nobody can despise you. So there is responsibility that is incumbent on you. If you must resist the kind of despise that will come from adults, it must be because you have a godly example that they cannot despise. Amen. And so I encourage you with all of that.
Hi, I do have one quick comment, and this is so beautiful, but I was talking to Uncle Pierre back there, and I just wanted to encourage all of us to buddy up with one of our youth and our young adults. So if you don't understand something about technology, if your phone's not working right, they know how to make it right, right? So let's start a partnership, adopt one of them, let's start a buddy system. I get to work with Kunle every single week, and I'm a lady, getting about to be 61, and so I work with Kunle doing pre-services, and he teaches me something new, and he keeps me young and keeps me relevant, and I appreciate Toby as well. They keep me relevant and they keep me young. I'm keeping them in my pocket. So grab one of these guys, partner with them, adopt them. I love me some Abigail. They teach me stuff. So, you know, grab one of those. That's all I wanted to say.
I know Khalid had something else to add.
Yeah, sorry. So don't want to hold us up too much, but just one comment is something that I wanted to kind of stress and make sure that I talked about before we left today. So first thing is talking specifically to the transition going from high school to college. Mentioned it before, but your friends make so much of a difference in the trajectory of your life as a whole. Down to yesterday, I played basketball in high school, and in Gwinnett County, there was like an alumni game yesterday, right? Toby came. Toby, half of my friends, aren't they the same guys I've been hanging out with since who knows when, right? But I think it's so important to have, like, iron sharpens iron, right? Once you find those people who, they can call you out. When you're getting out of line, they're not your friends who are good. You don't want to be surrounded around yes men, right? So the people who, they can see you going left, but they don't want to be annoying. They don't want to X, Y, and Z. Those aren't your real friends. Be with people who want to see you excel and succeed in life and who want to take that journey with you. And you'll be surprised as you get older, as you keep going, you're all walking together. Everybody's doing well together. And guess what? If one of my brothers is not doing well, we pick them up together collectively as a group, right? That is super important because you're gonna go through good times, bad times, times of plenty, times of meagerness, right? But when you have those people around you, nobody should be trying to do life by themselves. I don't think that we're meant to do lives by ourselves. We're meant to be in a community. So create and find your community. That's super important. Now, my secondary thing, not only to the kids, but this is more to the adults as well. And not only the adults that have children who are in this lane. If you have younger kids right now as well, one of the main things that helped me and helps me a lot, and it's really funny because amongst my siblings, it's a joke now. So let's say now we'll do like a family Zoom call to catch up since my sisters are elsewhere. And at the end, we'll wrap up, we'll pray, my dad will do his little thing. And he always says, right? But he said this since, I don't remember when it started, but my entire life, almost every time that we talk, he ends it with, you guys are different, right? You guys are not like everybody else. The expectations that everybody else in the world has is not the same. And when that's drilled into you from a young age, that you see yourself not like everybody in your class, you don't compare yourself to what everybody else does. So when everybody's doing something, it's not like they're doing that, so why not? If it doesn't match up with my values, what I'm supposed to be doing, I've already, like, in my mind, I don't think I should be doing something because somebody else is doing it. I only do things based off of my own criteria of, like, if it matches up to what I should do. So I think just in general, that foundation, if I didn't have that in the house, and not everybody has that, right? I have friends who, that confidence, they had to build it up themselves in their adult life. And it's much harder to stand when you don't really know who you are and you don't have that sense of who you are, what you stand for, and what your limits are. So I'll just encourage all of the parents, like, make sure you instill that sense of identity, who your children are, what it is that this family, what this last name means, and what we stand for. And I think that you'll find that people will, you know, will show who they are more as they transition into their adult life. So that was my last comment, so yeah.
Wow, that was powerful. Thank you so much, Coley. And just to piggyback on that, I just want to round up with this verse. Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, even while the evil days will come, nor the year draw nigh, while thou shalt say, I have pleasure in them." So I just want to leave you with that verse. It's up there, just to ponder it even as we wrap up. And I just want to thank the youths on the floor. Thank you so much for everyone that spoke. Even if you didn't speak, thank you for at least listening and being a part of this. And another big shout out to Conley and Toby. Thank you so much today for deciding to be up here. I myself have learned a lot with just being a moderator. And one more time, I just want to appreciate Pastor Ben giving me the opportunity to moderate. I don't take it for granted, and I am definitely honored to even be doing this. So thank you so much. And at this time, we'll welcome Lee for Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Y'all give them a round of applause.